brain fog, not being able to gather your thoughts and focus your energy. Sleep. Guess what? Sleep is totally associated with mineral depletion because when you can't sleep, your entire nervous system amps up because all those cells in your body are saying, I don't have what I need. Go look for it.
All right, you guys, I'm so excited for you to sit in on this conversation. I've got my dear friend, Caroline Allen. She is a mineral expert and health educator. And we are gonna be talking about one main simple ingredient that most people are missing in our lives that is so easy to get back in that you've probably never thought about. We're gonna break this down into a few simple step-by-step strategies for you to incorporate into your life. This is gonna change how you sleep. This is gonna change how you feel. This has the ability to change any hair loss or how your skin is showing up in the middle of your life, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Caroline, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for this conversation.
I'm super happy to be here with you, Melissa.
So one of the things I know I love is simplifying these health strategies and tools for not just women, but men too. But, we're living in this age of information and knowledge, thank God. Like now we know how to impact our health, but I feel overwhelmed. I don't know if you ever feel overwhelmed. I know people out there feel overwhelmed. And so what I'm really excited about this conversation is that this is a super simple tool. This is something we use in our home for our kids, our family. This is like an extra insurance that takes like seconds, that can impact brain fog. It can lower inflammation. It can help restore so many systems in our body that essentially, like my understanding of this is it's not healing us. It's giving us what we need at a foundational level so that our body can do what it's designed to do. And I heard you say something that really caught my interest. And you said nobody would buy a car without understanding how to fuel it or what to fuel it with. And so with that being said, I want to open this conversation with you about minerals, which is something not a lot of people are talking about. And so what are these minerals and why are people today so depleted in them?
Yeah. In my studies of minerals, so many exciting ideas came into my mind, and I was like, why has no one ever spoken about this to me before? So the first place I love to start is for people to recognize that all structure in the universe is minerals. If you look around this room, these flowers, all the structure of the flowers is minerals. The table, all the structure in my body, it's minerals. So at a most fundamental level, minerals are structure. And then the next fundamental level is that minerals are the fuel. Like if you're going to build a campfire, you're going to need wood, you're going to probably need some paper or tinder, and you're going to need a match. Now, to light the fuel in your body is minerals and amino acids.
We hear a lot about amino acids, but we don't hear a lot about minerals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is your body makes a lot of amino acids, but it makes no minerals. They all have to come in from the outside. The match, the thing that enables the fuel to ignite and become energy in your body is a mitochondria.
They are mighty mitochondria. I feel like that is the one thing we all remember from elementary school science. The powerhouse, the energy.
Exactly. So imagine this powerhouse, and what has to fuel that powerhouse is minerals and amino acids. Now, here's the problem, is that the way things work in nature is when a plant grows, it grows in the soil, and the way it creates all of its structure is by pulling the minerals from the soil. And the energy that is required to grow that plant is also pulled from those minerals. Okay? So what happens in nature is the plant grows. At a certain point, it dies and it decomposes and it delivers its mineral content back into the soil. This is the natural, I call it the sustainable loop that nature relies on. But we have, in our infinite wisdom, have done cultivation. We grow plants, we take them away from where they're grown, we process them, we eat them, and we dispose of their waste far from where they're grown as well. And then we've done this for hundreds of years. And there are also lots of other ways that minerals get depleted from soils, just like erosion as an example from rain. So our soils are depleted. So the foods that grow in them are now depleted. So to get the same nutrition from an apple your grandfather ate, you'd have to eat 6 or 7 apples today.
Wow. Yeah. So this is what I'm hearing is this is essentially an essential vitamin, meaning something that we can't really just get on our own. Our body cannot make it. This is something we have to get from the outside source.
Exactly.
We used to get it from our environment, but we're not anymore. And so this information can be almost like disempowering. But what's so cool is that we've got an easy solution. And so before we talk about that and, you know, kind of what's in your product, and again, I love your product. My kids take it. It's so easy. Why is this so important to you? Like what happened in your life that made you hone in on this?
Yeah. Well, you know, I grew up, I had gluten intolerance all my life. I had an autoimmune. And then as I grew older, I ended up having all sorts of allergies. I ended up having a mold exposure event. And when I was about 10 years ago, I ended up completely crashing. I had flatlined adrenals for over a year. I had really bad inflammation in my gut, elimination problems, bloating, all those problems. I had recurring sinus infections every 6 to 8 weeks. I had really bad inflammation in my mouth with periodontal disease and bone loss in my teeth.
Wow.
I didn't sleep at night, so I woke up 3, 4, sometimes more times a night. So sleep was trashed. And I had gone to every kind of doctor, you know, I was doing hormone replacement. I was doing all sorts of different thyroid. My thyroid was not working well. And then I happened to meet my business partner, and he introduced me to these plant-based minerals, this little cup of liquid, take it every day. I was like, okay, you know, it's easy. I'll do it.
Right. Maybe not thinking it would really do much, but
Yeah,
it couldn't hurt.
I didn't have any hope. I was like, okay, sure, it's easy, you know?
Can't hurt.
Yeah, it can't hurt. And I really wanted something to work, though.
Yeah.
And 2 months in, I went to my dentist. I had to have my teeth cleaned like 5 times a year because of my periodontal disease. They cleaned my teeth. There was no bleeding. My dentist looked in the mouth, and she was like, oh, my gosh, the tissues are pink and healthy. What happened? And I was like, maybe it's these minerals. 4 months in, I went to my naturopath to have my adrenals function test read. They were 1/3 of the way up the chart. Then over the space of 8 or 9 months, all of the symptoms that I mentioned, except for my thyroid, I still struggle with that. Everything else completely cleared. If it just been 1 or 2 things, I probably wouldn't have paid attention, but so many things changed. People were like, what happened to you? You look great, you know? And I went to my friend, and I said, how could, no one ever mentioned that I might be mineral deficient.
Right, yeah.
No, that word never came up in, thousands and thousands of dollars of practitioners. So he just gave me a little piece of information. He said, well, read this. And then I was like, you know, he's like, read this. I was like, you know, and I had so many aha moments. I call them my aha moments that I went to him one day and I said, it's the minerals. We have to bring this message to the world because so many people like me and women who are entering perimenopause and struggling with all the changes, they're just, the doctors are giving them, you know, antidepressants or whatever because they just say, well, you're just, you know, it's in your head. No. It's in the cells, you see.
What's really cool about that, too, is that you're giving the body what it needs. And again, it's blowing my mind that we hear so much, especially as women, right? We've got to maintain our muscle tissue through middle age, and amino acids are the building blocks of proteins and how important they are. And nobody, except for you, I see you all the time when we're traveling. You're like mega horning. It's minerals.
It's the minerals.
But what's so neat that I really want the listeners to zoom out and understand, like you said, you know, you were talking about people getting antidepressants for some of these symptoms. Not only that, but when we're treating a symptom, when we're putting a piece of duct tape over the check engine light, we're just hoping, you know, in traditional medicine, we're just hoping that A locks into B and makes someone feel better.
Yes.
But it's a crapshoot a lot of the time, unless you're getting really, really great functional lab work.
Right.
Whereas this, I mean, I know we have a combined interest in the love of the power of the human body. Like our body is designed to find homeostasis and healing
Yes.
when given the right ingredients.
Yes.
And so it can't hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
This is the building blocks of what we're made up of. And so, I just picture like a thirsty body, like, oh my God, thank you for giving me what I need. And so just going back, you had this experience where people were noticing from the outside, you were feeling it from the inside. And then you said you read something and it was your aha moment. So what did you read? What combined with what you were feeling that you were like, this is it, I have to do this?
There's a few things that really were the change moments. And the first one was the recognition that my body, that I think I grew up thinking my body was like mechanical. Like I think in my brain, I thought there were like cogs and wheels,
Yeah.
And then over time I realized, it's just like a gooky, wet, mushy mess inside there, right? And through my studies, I began to recognize the miraculous fact that this entire body is made of cells. Single cells, 37 to some people say 150 trillion cells for a large person.
It's crazy. We're just like a floating orb of little pieces.
And every single cell knows what to do.
Yeah.
It has
incredible.
It's phenomenal. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's actually a lot like the universe. And I started to see these corollaries between the body and the earth, an earth ecosystem. I recognize that this is a cellular ecosystem or a set of cellular ecosystems working in concert with one another in these incredibly miraculous ways that may allow me to I'm sitting here talking, thinking, breathing, hundreds of autonomic processes happening, right? So that was the first moment. And then I looked inside the cell at the mitochondria. That's when the dots connected, because inside a cell on my back of my hand, I might have 200 mitochondria. In my heart, in one cell, maybe 5,000 to 8,000 mitochondria. And in my brain, in one neuron, 2 million mitochondria. So the amount of energy that's being produced in this body, moment by moment, I mean, your body, a fully mineralized, replenished body can produce about 1,200 watts of energy every day, but it's not plugged into a wall. So where does the energy come from? It comes from the fuel, minerals and amino acids. And once those dots were connected, I realized that my body had been operating like a city in a brownout.
What's a brownout? Like a blackout? Like a power?
No, brownout is like in the summer if they can't produce enough energy because everybody's running their AC, then they keep the hospitals running. They keep, they keep all the
everything else.
The apartments in, somewhere they can't run the energy, so your lights go out. You see, so that is what happened in my body. My body said, I can't do all of the functions, so I'll keep the heart pumping. I'll keep but that inflammation in the gut, well, we can't really get rid of that. Well, the hair
gums and your teeth and your hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, your nails, your hair and your nails, which is something we hear so common around middle age. Right.
Exactly.
So let's go into what are some, I'm hearing losing hair, brittle nails.
Yeah.
What are some
Dull
other
skin.
common symptoms of mineral depletion?
The biggest one.
If you're a woman and it feels like your brain has 47 tabs open, you've got the kids asking questions, texts coming in, dinner to make, work to finish, and somehow you're still trying to think clearly, this is not a mindset issue. It is not a personality flaw. This is physiology and your nervous system stuck in urgency mode. I created this urgency reset, a simple 2-minute shift using brainwave-based tools to help your nervous system downshift so you can come back into clarity and presence. Because the goal isn't just managing the chaos, it's being present for the moments that you don't want to miss. So you don't look back later in life and realize the years with the people you love or just your own life slipped by. Click the links. This is a mini masterclass. It's like 15 minutes, and I cannot wait for you guys to check this out. Back to the episode.
Brain fog, not being able to gather your thoughts and focus your energy. So mineral depletion is huge in ADHD. It's huge in ADHD with children. You get ADHD, supposedly ADHD children, mineral replenished, and suddenly they can focus and everything's goes great.
Well,
okay?
That makes sense when you're talking about how many mitochondria and powerhouses are in the brain.
Exactly.
Of course, right? We're churning without the fuel.
Exactly. So then sleep. Guess what? Sleep is totally associated with mineral depletion because when you can't sleep, your entire nervous system amps up because all those cells in your body are saying, I don't have what I need. Go look for it.
Survival.
Right?
Amygdala. Yeah. I nerd out on the neuroscience. I'm
exactly.
like, yeah.
So you have this neurochemical wash in your body that's saying, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here.
Right.
So when you get replenished, as I am, literally, I never slept all my life, never slept.
Wow.
Now I sleep through the night almost every night.
I mean, that alone, if you're not sleeping and you can go to sleeping, that's not just game changing, that's life changing.
It has been absolutely, and that alone, I mean, literally, I want that for people, for them to recognize that sleep issues is a metabolic issue. Your body doesn't have enough energy and it's sending you looking. They call mineral depletion the hidden hunger because it's like just something's missing, that thing that has you go open the fridge looking for the, little extra something.
Wow. Love that. Okay. So let's get into how we fix this problem.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about re-mineralization versus supplementation.
Yes.
So what is the difference between the two?
Yeah. So supplementation is just adding a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't actually affect the system. So we've been taught that our body is a mechanical vehicle. And years ago, scientists said, soldiers and athletes were having crashes, electrolyte crashes. So they went in their labs and they went, okay, well, let's figure out how much of this mineral and that mineral and that mineral are needed per day, okay? But the problem is those supplemental facts that you see on the back of foods or on supplements that tell you how much of a recommended daily allowance is in that food, that recommended daily allowance has absolutely nothing to do with you. It doesn't take into account your lifestyle, your health history, your genetics, your epigenetics, the way of eating, your exercise level. It takes into account nothing. So it means nothing to you.
It's not a personalized prescription per se.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it actually has no relevance. So the problem is that people have been using that, and we've been taught this way. Somebody says I should take 500 milligrams of magnesium every day. The problem is minerals don't work alone. In fact, they absolutely have to be in balance. So the way things work in nature, where would you have huge amount of magnesium in nature, it probably would be toxic. The plant life, the cellular life in that area wouldn't thrive if there was that much of a concentration. Right. So in your body, which is a cellular ecosystem, what you want to do is bring the minerals in the natural balanced ratios. So first of all, most mineral supplements that you take are made from rocks, shells, bones, and then there are the salts, which we can talk about separately. But the rock, shells, and bones, do you think your gut actually breaks that down very well? No, right? It doesn't know how to digest rocks, bones, and shells. It just, about 94%, 93% of it passes straight through your body.
So you've got really expensive waste.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But the cool thing is, and here's where we get to the simple solution, nature actually solved this problem because every cell on Earth requires minerals as fuel to generate energy. Every single cell, whether it's a cedar tree or a pea shoot or a cell in your body, they all, at this level, they work the same. And they actually need the same ratios of minerals at that level. That's what's interesting, like as above, so below.
Right.
So nature created humic and fulvic substances, which are molecules that they're like a technology. They're actually a natural technology for replenishing minerals into cells.
And that's what's in your guys' product.
And that's what's in B minerals.
So I will say your, what are they called? The baby beams? The little
baby bottles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the cutest. I mean, we're filming this we're at Jim Quick's event. It's December, and this will probably come out a little while after that. But those are my favorite stocking stuffers for my family.
Totally.
They're so cute too, and they're great for travel. So let's talk a little bit about what's in there and why a plant-based product.
Yeah. So think about it. Your body digests plants very easily, right? So plant-based material, and just for the people who are who are like paleo or something, I want you to understand this plant-based material is the basic minerals that built that plant originally. So it's not like we took plants from a garden, ground them up, and made them into like a plant protein powder or something.
Right, like
not
pea
like that.
protein isolate.
Nothing like that. These are ancient. So imagine 65 million years ago, the Earth was covered with rainforests. A meteor hit the Yucatan, killed 75% of all life in a few hours, and all those rainforests died and decomposed and became these humic and fulvic substances. They come from below the Earth, the surface, so they're very pure and clean. They've not had anything from modern pollutants. So they're really, really clean and pure.
Beautiful.
That's a beautiful
so they're
thing.
literal plant instead of like the power plant where so much of this stuff is made now.
Exactly.
It's toxic. And I think it's really easy. We're again living in an age of information and knowledge and almost like overload.
Yes.
And it's kind of the wild, wild west. Right. And so it's like you hear magnesium is good. Well, let me grab this one. I know in practice, I used to have some patients and they're like, I heard I need to take this supplement. So I ran to CVS or Walgreens or the dollar store and I got something. It's like, no. So it's so important what the product is made out of.
Well, and I've spent time in the supplement aisles at grocery stores and health food stores, talking to the people who are picking up, bottle after bottle. They're trying, and they've got like 5 or 6. And I'm like, first of all, I know they're going to get home, and most of that is going to end up in their supplement graveyard.
Yeah,
that cupboard filled with
that everybody has.
Everybody has,
myself included.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And but I'd ask them, like, how do you know what to get? And do you know what it's going to do for you? And they're like, well, my mom told me I need to get some zinc, and my friend said I need this, and my dad said, and my brother, and but it's not sustainable, and everyone is so overwhelmed with the pill for every ill.
So overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So that's why this again is so goes back to basics, which I just think is so beautiful because you're not treating something, you're not necessarily just like trying to fill some hole and hope it works. You're going to foundational and basics, and you're putting really good fuel in your really good car.
Yeah.
So what kinds of things do people experience, when they start getting remineralized?
So what I always say to people, because people are like, how am I going to, what am I going to feel? And I ask them to think about themselves and what are their chronic symptoms? Okay, what are the things? Because some people it's their gut, and some people it's cramping, and some people it's headaches, and some people it's sleep, some people it's brain fog. So each person is unique because your system, when it doesn't have enough energy, it will affect your weakest part. Okay, so look at those areas where you struggle, just at a low level constantly. Those are the places that you're going to start to feel a difference first. So like an athlete who they're like, they're charging ahead, but they're always feeling hydration issues. They start to go, wow, I'm drinking less water and I'm feeling more hydrated, as an example.
Oh,
so
that's a good one. Yeah. I noticed that when I started taking them. I'm someone who always has like all the water bottles all the time in the car, on the go, when I'm doing podcasts at home.
Right.
That was something I noticed actually.
Yes.
Very quickly into the process of taking these.
That is so cool because...
And I didn't even necessarily tie the two together. That's so funny.
And the cool thing is, you see, fulvic is a delivery system into the cells. So actually, hydration is getting water, H2O, into your tissues, which is your cells.
Instead of just
it's not just like going through, right?
Yeah.
So actually that means that the water is actually getting into your tissues. Not, you're not necessarily retaining water. This is not what we're talking about.
No, but you're starting to see it in your systems.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a ton of great products. And again, I'm going to say it again, like how easy they are to implement. What would be your desert island B minerals product if you had to pick one?
If I had to pick one single product, I would definitely choose our MicroBoost product, okay? And the reason we say MicroBoost is because it does have humic and it also does have fulvic. And you need both. The fulvic is the delivery system into the cells, bringing nutrients and minerals into your cells, and also toxins and biowaste out of the cells. And then the humic molecule, I call it Mother Nature's janitor. It's the one that just hangs out in your system, constantly cleaning up the trash and taking it out. That's what it does constantly, day in, day out, every minute of every day. Okay, so you really want that in your system. The other thing it does, humic does, is it creates cell wall permeability. So it makes your cells more permeable, so more nutrients can come in and more biowaste and toxins can come out.
Super important.
So that's like if you only took one. But we always recommend people use what we call our advanced set, and that includes Electrolyze, which is a fulvic only product, and then MicroBoost, which is our humic product. And the reason you want to do that is take both of them is, first of all, most of us are so mineral depleted that and struggle with energy and the sleep. So you really want to enhance nutrient uptake in your system. That's what that green bottle, the Electrolyze, is going to do for you. The MicroBoost, the other reason it's good to take both is that if you're a sensitive person like I am, so I've had mold exposure, I've had autoimmune all my life, I just have a very, very sensitive system. I had to start very, very slow with that. So
I did too. I think I had messaged you when I was taking them.
That's right.
I had to start slow.
Tell me about your experience.
So I have chronic Lyme.
Yeah.
Which can present as an autoimmune condition. And so if I do certain parasite cleanse or heavy metal cleanse or anything like that, I have to go low and slow.
Yes.
And I think that's a really important message because, especially for us here in America, it's like if some is good, more is better. And it's so often low and slow. That's what our body needs. It needs to take time.
Yeah.
And so I just had some little symptoms of detox that I noticed. And so I paired it in half and it went great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about having a liquid rather than a pill or a capsule.
So easy.
Because we have a protocol. We call it the slow introduction method. It's really easy to access on our website with the QR code on the back of the bottle. And it just takes you through actually multi-week process for people who are very sensitive. I've never had anybody who could not take the humic without having any side effects if they went slowly and did it that way.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's how ecosystems like it. They like slow, incremental changes, gently over time, and then that's what makes them thrive.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'm a mama, and so as we get ready to wrap here, one of my favorite products is the Boo Boo lights.
Yeah.
Because our kids love it. And I think, in my home, it's like, I don't want to just tell my kids what to do as far as creating their health habits and routines. I want them to watch me, and then I want them to have products that they can start to use and incorporate. And so yours have been really user-friendly, but talk to us about what's in the Boo Boo lights.
Yeah.
Because that's really fun. I actually fell off my bike hardcore a month ago, and I was spraying that stuff on here like crazy.
Yeah, so Boo Boo Lights is an amazing product. So it's a fulvic product, but it also has essential oils in it. It smells lavenderish, but also it's a mix, a proprietary blend. And the interesting thing about that Boo Boo Lights is you can use it for bug bites, burns, bee stings, poison oak and ivy, a scrape, and you just spray it on. And it's
Instantly
like
changes.
this.
Yeah. My daughter knows to get it.
We have so many families when the child falls and like, Mama, I want my Boo Boo Lights.
Yeah, and it's so cute. The name is so cute. And it's like a super easy, friendly bottle so they can just spray it on themselves.
And lavender also is a calming, essential oil in terms of the kind of neurotransmitter wash. So it has multiple effects. So it's got the fulvic, and the fulvic immediately absorbs right into the location, starts detoxing the cells and removing shrink the whatever toxins or inflammation that's happening in that local area, like immediately.
Amazing.
But then the essential oils, lavender is well known. It's, first of all, it's antimicrobial, so it's also good for just making sure you're not going to have an infection, but it also is well known for pain relief. So it's an amazing product.
It's so good. I just love the fun and easy.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
All right, so we will link all the products in the show description with an epic code that I have just for you guys. Now, I want to make sure we touch on your book. I know you've got a book coming out. I mean, you guys see what an incredible resource Caroline is. I love how you just break it down really simply. So talk to us about what your book is about and who it's for.
The book is called The Mineral Reset. And it is truly a guide for restoring your body, rebalancing, and replenishing. So it talks about what I've talked about today. But one of the main things is it's helping people shift their thinking from thinking the body like a car to thinking about it like an ecosystem, a natural ecosystem, just like all the other natural ecosystems on Earth, and then teaches them how to properly fuel it. So, and we, at the end of the book, we also have like a reset program that you can kind of take yourself through, a self-paced process. So you can really take out all those pills that you're taking and go, okay, what is it? What's actually in this? You know, like, what is it doing for me? And really evaluate, of course, with your practitioner. You know, you don't want to just suddenly take things out. I'm not suggesting that, but to really empower yourself about this amazing entity that your consciousness lives in.
It's amazing because that's essentially, you know, a book like yours creates a paradigm shift.
Yes.
And when we change the way that we think about things, when we change the identity, and what I mean by that is like looking at our body, like you said, from a holistic standpoint, we stop thinking that the signals that our body is sending us is that we're broken, right? These are messengers. And so when you can shift your paradigm and read something like your book that does that, it becomes really easy to figure out what to do to support yourself.
Yes.
We're no longer, and this is, you know, just kind of coming back to what I was saying at the beginning, we are living in an age of over-information and knowledge, and we need to get back to wisdom. Because when we're there, it's like, I don't have to figure out the protocol and what to do and who to ask. Like, I know. And that's what your book does for people. So I'm so glad it's coming out. This is an incredible resource. I highly recommend. We'll link it in the show notes. Caroline, any last words of wisdom for our audience before we sign off today?
What I would ask people to do is, rather than being so hard on their bodies, that are working so hard to keep them healthy, when you're struggling, really recognize that's your body speaking to you. It's your body. And if you stop and listen, it will tell you what it needs. And mostly what it needs is the foundation, like a hug, you know, like some minerals, like hugs, minerals.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics. So good, so nice, so easy. Thank you so much for being here, Caroline.
Absolute pleasure to sit with you.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. We've got links to all her amazing products. These are great for your kids, your family members in the show notes, as well as a great discount for you guys. Grab her book. I highly recommend it. Leave your comments, any questions. We'll be sure that we answer them together to get you guys this incredible information. I'll see you next time. Self-care needs a rebrand, and that's exactly why I wrote this book, The Connection Code, and it's out now. I'm so excited. I wrote this for the woman who feels like she has lost herself or just simply needs a reminder that everything she's searching for is already inside of her. Inside this book, you're going to find simple, science-backed tools to help you reset in real life moments, like in the carpool line or between back-to-back meetings, or maybe when you catch yourself unfortunately snapping at the people you love most. Order your copy today, and you'll also get access to some amazing freebies to help you start regulating your nervous system and reconnecting with yourself right away.